Alright, I just want to make a quick video. And if you are watching my videos, I would advise you watch my videos and you would heed my advice. And I would advise that you not go too many other places. And I would also advise that you kind of stay away from the organized church. Not because it's bad, not because they don't do some good things, because they do some good things. And they have helped me in the past. They help when people, are short of money. They do lots of wonderful things. They feed people. I'm not saying any of that. But in terms of teaching you spiritually, I don't personally see anything that they help with. It's more about morals and those type of things with the church. They're not really actually following Jesus there. If you're earning money, if you're earning money and you're a pastor, you're doing something wrong. So these are the tips I would give you. Stick with my channel. Treat this like it's church. Take it seriously, and I will teach you what it takes to walk down the straight path that Christ set before us. And I will teach you his commandments. But I'm not going to be Mr. Bible with you, because you can do that on your own time. And plus you don't need, I don't care what anyone tells you, you do not need to read the Bible all day long. You don't need to know who the king of Judah was. You don't need to know who the king of Israel was in those days. It's just not important. You can hang the law and the prophets on 2 commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your strength, and all your might, and love your neighbor as yourself. What more do you need to search for? I can tell you, I've read the prophets. It's all the same thing. It's about Israel being disobedient. It's about Israel not doing justice. It's about Israel not helping widows or the oppressed. It's the same thing over and over. But all these other YouTubers, they sit and read their Bible, and they think by memorizing it, it means something. It's a waste of time to do that, because they don't even know what they're saying, because the Spirit doesn't reside in them to teach them those things. It's about understanding what you're saying, and they don't have any understanding of what they're saying. So, every lesson I'm going to teach you is going to be a biblical lesson. So, for instance, and I get caught in this also. Before I made this video, I was, in the Spirit, talking to the Spirit, and I was like, what? The few people that watch me, I want to implore them to start trusting in the Lord, not trusting in money. And so I thought, maybe I'll read some Psalms to them. And he was like, well, why? I don't want you doing that. What David was talking about in the Psalms. He was talking about in all of his hardship when he was fleeing from his son Absalom. Many other cases. The theme is always, the Lord is my strength. The Lord is my rock. The Lord is my fortress. So, but these are things you can start to do as you walk down the narrow path. You can begin to understand the character of God by practicing these things. And then once you read, but you need to be reading the gospel until you know Jesus. Before you have the Holy Spirit, you need to be reading the gospel. Once he comes to you, then you can put these things into practice. But you can still start down that path. But you need to recognize that it's about trusting in God, which means you have to be divorced from the earth, from the world, rather. Everyone needs to work. Everyone needs to be in the world a certain amount. But to trust in God is to go without, is to do like the disciples. And time is just, gosh, man, it's so short. So I just ask, if you're with me, stay with me. don't go too many other places because you may get stuck in snares. I have no agenda on this channel. The reason I don't want you going to church is because, while they do wonderful things for people, and I've heard this said from many other people's testimonies, they try to hoard their knowledge. I even heard this, my old, quote, spiritual mentor, this Christian mentor woman that I talk about, saying that, because we were talking about churches, several weeks ago, and she said, oh yeah, this such and such church is a good church, but the pastor wants people to learn the Holy Spirit from him. He tries to keep the Spirit with him and keep them learning from him. And I said, that's impossible. It doesn't work that way. He doesn't know the Holy Spirit if he's even thinking that, And that's the agenda. They try to keep you there because they want to put your butt in the seats there. They need to fill up seats because it's a money-making venture. It's an organized church. They need money to keep the doors open and to, make a living. And Christianity is not something you make a living at. Jesus made no living with, preaching the gospel. None of the disciples made a living doing it. You're not supposed to do that. It's not how it works. So there's nothing I want from you aside from you to just listen and to learn. And if you follow my instructions and you read the gospel by yourself, you fall into a snare by constantly needing to be around people. This is between you and God. He can't know you if you're always with people. He's only going to know you when you're by yourself and you're in your innermost, intimate moments. He's never going to know you if you're always needing people around you. And that's a huge part of him really deciding if the Holy Spirit's going to be a part of your life. Because if you can't be alone, you can't have the Holy Spirit. It's as simple as that. If you have to be, ferried away to church all the time to try and get your dose of God, it'll never work because your relationship with God is all the time. Going to church is a few hours a week at the most. Your church is every day. Now it doesn't have to be as much as I do it, but there is a certain, there's a certain point in every relationship, particularly when he's getting to know you and you're in the process of being born again, where it's all you do. He wants that much of you. He wants all of you. He only wants everything. That's why when people say it's unconditional love, it's crazy. No, he wants everything from you. He wants to dissect you and to tell you what you can keep. You have to bargain with him. Well, what can I keep, Jesus? What do you even want of me? Do you just not want anything of me? Sometimes he doesn't want anything of you, and he's got to put you all the way back together. But most of the time, if you're good at certain things, like whether you're a musician, an artist, he wants you to incorporate that into your spiritual life. He takes the good things that are in your heart, and he brings the Jesus out of those things, so to speak. So, this is kind of my commandment to you, I suppose. To learn, you need to learn to love your neighbor as yourself, as Jesus said. That's his commandment. And that's every disciple of his commandment. So stick around here. I would stay here and get to know the character of what I'm doing. Because if you just keep flip-flopping, going here, there, going to Rachel Stevens, it's not going to work. You need to be intimate with the Lord so he can know you. And he can't know you through 3 inches of makeup and booze and doing whatever you want all day. When you have the Holy Spirit, you do what he wants you to do all day. He's just controlling your life, essentially. A lot of times you have to quit your job. I'm not telling people to go out and quit your job. This is something he will go through with you. But a lot of times, usually he'll tell you you're paycheck to paycheck. If that means getting a job making less money, this is between him and you. So, I just wanted to bring these things to your attention. Okay, peace.